I'll tell you all about it. That was real good. That was money, first of all. Let's do another.
What is up, everyone? I am Chris Knight, and this is the Real Review 3000 with the Gospel According to Chris. And tonight, we have a man, the myth, the legend, a guy that I have had on the Wheel of Names since I think the very, very beginning. And in fact, I think the first live stream I ever did was with you when we watched the uncut, unedited, pure and pristine 1977 cut of Star Wars. Not Star Wars New Hope, but Star Wars. And we've done some stuff since then. We watched a re-edit of The Last Jedi. We've done, things here and there, but it's been a while. And I am glad to welcome Drunk 3PO to the channel. Thank you, Drunk, for being here today. Why don't you tell everybody where they can find you, what you're about, all that fun stuff real quick.
It's a pleasure to be here, my friend. For whatever reason, the universe just didn't spin my name, but it did tonight.
It did.
Oh, feeling saucy, feeling a little saucy. I got my Kentucky bourbon with me here. Stuff is worse than gasoline with antifreeze, but whatever. That's what they drink in Kentucky, I guess. So whatever. Congratulations on the Super Bowl #1. We got to get that out of the way.
Yes. 50 years.
Sadly, I didn't pick your team to win and lost terribly, but
you should have known.
Congratulations are still in order.
You should have known. That's all I'm going to say.
Still in order.
Thank you.
My channel is the Drunk 3PO channel, and since you're my friend, you can call me Jay if you like. And who knows what we do on that thing anymore? Honestly, it's just it's evolved into something I have no control over, and just enjoying the ride.
You got several people helping you now, though, too, don't you?
Yeah, because I travel so much. The ladies call all the time. It's annoying. So I need some people to help me keep content on it, because you know how that algorithm thing works, so if you don't do it right, then the algorithm will get all goofy. So can't get that all goofy, so we just do it that way. Nice shades, by the way, my friend.
Thank you.
And shirt, that's pretty cool, man.
Yeah,
cool. Repping the Beatles.
That's right. One of my favorite bands. So
what is your favorite, if you don't mind me asking? Can you give me like 3 of your all-time favorite Beatles song?
First and foremost is the medley off of Abbey Road. Primarily because it's not technically a medley as most people. If you go to a concert and you hear bands play medley, they play like a minute of like 6 songs that aren't their greatest known songs, but they play it really quick and they play, get like 6 songs and mash them together. The Beatles actually did that, and they were all just little starts of songs, and then they made it into this one giant medley, which is a true medley, which I love. That Hey Jude, my son's name is Julian, and so I named him after Jude, which is John Lennon's first son. And third,
because I'll tell you mine when you're of course the problem with the Beatles fan is they just can't name 3 because
it's like, well, the thing is I
wake up on Monday and go, I love this one. Wake up on Tuesday and love that one.
The third one is In My Life. I won't play it at my funeral. So yeah, and I think that was John Lennon talking about what had happened to him in his past. So
Chris has picked the 3 most boring Beatles songs, and I will tell you why. Because the #1 Beatles song ever is Maxwell's Silver Hammer.
I love that one.
When you get angry with someone, that's the go-to jam. And so I don't have a silver hammer, but I have a Thor's hammer, which could do the job if needs
silver.
Yeah, it'll still hurt.
I think
the other one is I Am the Walrus, which is you listen to that when you've had too much to drink, just because you have no idea what's going on in the video or in the lyrics, actually, and you just kind of make stuff up as you go as to what the meaning of that song.
I am he as, you are he as, you are me, and we are all together.
I'm the Walrus. Cuckoo, cuckoo.
That's right.
And then Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds.
Very good.
I don't know why that song appeals to me. Has nothing to do with LSD usage, but
Nope.
Lucy in the Sky kind of has a thing there. I once heard that that John Lennon, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, John Lennon got together with his band, the Beatles, and was a little aggravated that people were trying to code out the meanings of his words. So they just did that album with the Walrus just to throw everybody off and just screw with everybody. Is that a true statement?
That's true. And then later on, they did Glass Onion off of the White Album, and Glass Onion says the Walrus was Paul.
Yeah,
the Walrus was John. I think, so it's like they were notorious for wanting to throw people off, and people put a lot more meaning into what was actually going on than what was really there. And they said it tons of times. People would ask them about, well, what is My Michelle about? And My Michelle was about Paul's dog, and that was all it was about. It's like, or no, Martha My Dear, that was it. Martha My Dear was about Paul's dog, and people thought it was about a long lost love, and he's like, it's about my dog. People thought Paul was dead because he was not wearing shoes when he walked across the crosswalk for Abbey Road. And what does he say? He says, well, I didn't have shoes on, and they said it's time to shoot, so he walked across. That was it. It's like, I don't know where people got this stuff from.
I just think we see a lot of trollage, we see a lot of trollage, but to create an album just to screw with people is troll level 9,000. I think
exactly.
That's I see you, Tugs. I see you in there. I see you.
Tugs. What's going on?
Thank you for stopping by. Yeah, I think that was like one of the greatest trolls thing ever. So
I would
pretty impressive that they did that.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty impressive.
So let's talk. We're going to talk about several things today. Let's start off with this lovely thing you do. It's called charity. You are a fairly charitable person. I hear you go to El Salvador occasionally, help people out. Tell me, how did you get involved in this stuff? How did you get involved in charity, like El Salvador, especially the helping them with the children and stuff down there?
All right, so I'll put my serious face on just for a minute.
Okay.
Just for a minute, man. It won't last long, so enjoy it. So, growing up, all through high school and a little bit of college, for some weird reason, I was kind of like, I dealt with I was just an angry kid. Angry, I was a big kid, but I was angry. I didn't want anybody messing with me. Just wanted to be mad. And I kind of like not every day. People struggle with stuff. That was my struggle. And there was an opportunity for me to go to Africa in 2006, and it was a trip done by World Vision, and they had like a whole bunch of people going, and I'm like, I had a free trip, and so that's a whole nother story. But I had a free trip, and they were like, I was gonna go represent this community group from the college and all this stuff. And I was like, oh, okay, free trip out of the country, and I get school credit. I'm down, whatever. So went to Africa, went to Kenya, and went into Nairobi, and I saw stuff. That was the first time I ever saw like real poverty. We have poverty here, don't get me wrong, but it was we went to an AIDS camp, and at the time, I don't know if the laws are still like this, but at the time, if you had HIV/AIDS in Nairobi, they shunned you and your family. They wouldn't let you work, wouldn't let you go to school, wouldn't let you do anything. And so they shoved people, and they made these makeshift communities. And when we were there, not to get all sad and down, but when we were there, there was a lot of death, a lot of death with children. And the thing that stuck out for me more than anything was we were bringing livestock and building rain collectors for this village. And I was over, it was cool. It was like the first time I've ever done anything like that. And then I went over to the side to see what the people were eating. And they had this giant bowl. And this lady was like filling, there was a soup for the kids, and they were filling, she was using like dirt to make the soup thicker. And I asked the translator, I was like, is she putting dirt in that? They're going to feed the kids dirt? Like, are you serious? And they're like, yeah, that's all they got. That's all they have right now. And it keeps the kids from crying at night from hunger pains. And so that is the single image that has been tattooed on my head for the rest of my life. And, you know, because 3 hours later, I got back on a bus. I went back to a hotel where they had a buffet waiting for me, you know, and I remember I couldn't eat. So long story short, I go back to America and I realize I want to go back to Africa and get involved in their internship program and just be with these people. I was going to live there 4 months out of every year and back and forth. So before I left, the earthquake happened in the country of Haiti in 2010, January 12th, 2010. And everything shifted because I was in Miami. So I was really close to Haiti. And people started saying, hey, would you want to be part of the relief effort there? And I was like, yeah, but Africa is where I think I need to be. And they're like, yeah, but this is like emergency aid. So we went over right after the earthquake and saw it looked like a war zone. I've never seen anything. It made Africa look like a day spa. It was terrible. And you just ended up staying. And long story short, I ended up like almost living there for 3.5 years, learned the language. And I started running teams. I was like the American on the ground there. And so organizations would call me and be like, hey, you speak English and you speak Creole. We're going to send a team of doctors. Can you make sure they get to where they're going to be? I was like, yeah, I can. So I started getting contract and paid to take teams all over Haiti. And then they were like, can you take a team to the Dominican Republic since you're down there? Sure. And then it was like, can you take a team to India? Yeah, why not? Can you take a team to Sri Lanka? Oh, sure, why not? So I ended up going in that whole span. Again, this is really paraphrasing. So I've been all over the world except for like Russia. Like anywhere that's cold, never went. But anywhere that's hot, from Africa, China, Japan, all this, I helped run teams for this organization.
That's really hot stuff over there in India and stuff.
The food is terrible anyway for me, but it is what it is. And I got pictures of we coming out of a hotel when there was like a cobra alert. And there's like, you can't leave your hotel room until we catch these cobras. It's no problem. It happens like every Wednesday. I'm like, that's great. That's wonderful. So, you know, and so all that being said, I had years of horrible things that I've seen of children's death and starvation and all these things. And it finally caught up with me. And I came back to the States and not that I had a breakdown, but it was more like everything made me upset. Like I would see, like you would invite me to your house and we'd have dinner and I would be upset.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be like, how can we throw some of this away? And, you know, people that would have water bottles and only drink half of it and throw it away, it would impact me horribly. Like it would make me very upset. Because it's like I just spent like 6 months in a place where they don't have water. You know what I'm saying? So I had to compress and settle. And I became a school teacher and the organization was still like, you want to go here? You want to go here? I was like, nah, man, I need to relax. I need to get my mind straight. And so they said, well, what about El Salvador? Come to El Salvador. It's not as stressful. It's not as like high danger. It's not like all those things. So I went and I fell in love with the place and just determined to get that project done because at the end of the day, El Salvador is really not on people's list for like they want to give to. It's not an emergency area. It's not like, you know, like the fires in Australia, everybody gave, which they should have. That's wonderful. Like, don't get me wrong. Like anytime you want to give to something, it's a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful thing. So, but like when you say El Salvador, people are like, what's wrong with that country? Just got gangs or something. So I just was like, I'm just going to take one little thing at a time. Let me finish this. And then once we're done with that one, we'll go to the next one. It's just, so that all that said and done, that the only countries that I really travel to now is Haiti and El Salvador. I go to China once a year with the team. I won't be going this year because of the virus, but so that's like 15 years of story in about 5 minutes. So,
how many languages do you speak?
4.
Okay, so which 4 are they?
English, Creole, bad Spanish, and sign language.
Bad Spanish, very good. Yeah, sign language. I'd love to learn that. I have friends who do it, and I've talked to them and been like, "We need to sit down and teach me that."
I took sign language was my language in college, so I took it out of. I thought it was easy because it's the same A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So I did that. The Creole just happened because I lived in the country. It was like adapt or die.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then a lot of people in Haiti speak Spanish, and Creole is kind of an off Spanish dialect. And so now going to El Salvador, it's kind of like my Spanish kind of kicks in, but it's kindergarten, first grade level at the at the best. So, at the best, like I can get, like, if I'm like, slow down. Okay. I think I got what you're saying. And then, so. Okay.
Yeah. The El Salvador project. You're doing it. Is it an orphanage? Is that what you're working on? Or I'm trying to remember exactly what it is.
Ben said, dude impressed some Haitian honeys at university. Yeah, he was there for that. He was there for that. I always try to speak Creole to people like where I go because it keeps my Creole like a little bit. And then they freak out when they see a white person speaking Creole. So like the Haitians are like, yeah, Ben was there. He said that in the chat. He was there to see that. But in El Salvador, they have an issue there where I don't know. It is what it is. It's abortion is illegal, but prostitution is okay. So prostitutes have children and they don't know what to do with them, and they end up just tossing them to the side. So almost 99% of these children that are in this home are from prostitutes that just had the baby and just walked away, So there's a lot of children that are just everywhere, like in the garbage, and because people that can't take care of them do that. So this one lady decided that she couldn't stand seeing her people suffer. Her name is Tiana, and she took as many as she can in this little. I don't know the square footage, but I think if you think of a 2-1 apartment,
Mm-hmm.
and that's about the size of it. And she's got 15 people in there, including herself.
Wow.
Yeah, it's small. And so she didn't know what to do. She reached out to the local church, which is also the school. And they were like, we don't have the money to help you. And it just was sheer luck that the organization was going to Guatemala. They were going through El Salvador to Guatemala. And when they stopped in El Salvador, somebody said, hey, can you see what's going on here? And then all this started happening. So what Amaveo Group is, a group that I'm associated with. What they do is they build sustainable projects. They don't like making people handouts.
Mm-hmm.
So they're basically like, they'll go to a town and say, we'll build you an agricultural farm, but you got to take care of it. We're not coming back.
Mm-hmm.
So we're just going to give you money every month. You got to make it work.
Mm-hmm.
So the place that we're building, it's a home for kids that are street kids. They can live there. They can go to school. It'll be paid for. And it's also a giant coffee and banana farm and everything. So there'll be people that work the farm that will make the money, that will pay for the kids' school and other things. If we got to come back for anything, it would be for like college, maybe help out a little bit for college. But other than that, it will self-sustain
Mm-hmm.
the bills, the food, the children, the education, and everything. And I was hoping to have it done by Christmas, but it's just been a slow process. So,
how many years have you been working on that project?
3.
That's what I thought. Yeah. Yeah, because we talked about this last year. I know I made an announcement about a charity I've been trying to raise money for, and it's a real noble thing, like you said. And I think there's something to be said about self-sustainable, charitable stuff, because I mean, my experience shows me that if you just give in a lot of situations, not every situation, but in a lot of situations, when you just give, people don't learn the true value of what is being done. If you go and you actually hands-on with them, show them how to work, doing, like you said, coffee, crops of any sort, you show them how to nurture them, how to bring them up, how to bring them back every year. And that becomes sustainable. And it becomes something that the people, in this case, the children, can help with if that's what they want to do with them. Schools provided, but this is also money, because coffee, for instance, is a very valuable resource down there. You can sell it and it can bring money back in to those people. And anything like that is a great way of doing it. Now, again, like you said, fires, things like that, giving money and just giving people money is not a bad thing. And there's certain situations that is. But
I agree with you completely. It is it caused. So I saw this with Haiti a lot. So after the earthquake, this is what happens. After the earthquake happened, people gave money. It's wonderful. They wanted to give clothes, shoes. Wonderful. It should move your heart to do something. It should move your heart to do something. And but what happened was, while we were there, we were getting these shiploads of clothes and didn't know what to do with them. So we piled them up. People piled them up. And the Haitians that had clothes stores, they shut them down. So now we have more families in need of food and water, because why would I go buy a shirt when I can go over here and get it for free?
Mm-hmm.
Why would I work when I know this guy's going to be bringing rice and water and food? Why do I need to go slave myself and, for nothing, when I can just wait and get it for free? And so it was just it's a nonstop. It was a bad cycle of, that's why I never like taking stuff down. I'm like, people are like, hey, I want to give you stuff. And that's great. But I'm like, money's the best thing, is then I will buy it there and help out the economy, so I can keep a guy and his family, or a woman and her children, or a mother, father, whatever, whoever they're taking care of, because some people are taking care of their niece and nephews and whatever. I can keep them from having to beg, because I'm supporting in their business. Mm-hmm. So that was the biggest tragedy that happened in Haiti after the earthquake. Was there was just so many clothes, shoes, medicines, everything, that the people that actually had businesses, they all shut down. Because why would you know what I'm saying? Why would I go buy shoes when I can just go get some for free? Yeah,
I know. And you see that a lot in a lot of different places. And
so it made me learn, because at first I was the first one bringing shoes and clothes and everything, and like, oh my God, look at these people, they need help, and yeah. But then after a while, you see the long-term effect, and you're just like, well, that was a mistake.
I think that's a product, and I could be wrong. I don't know. You might know more than I do. I think that's a product of United States thinking. That
hugely,
huh?
Yes, hugely.
Yeah, and I mean, we as the United States, our answer to so many problems is throw money at it. If we don't have money in the government, what do? You print more money, whatever you want to say. You throw money at the problem, and eventually it gets better. You see it in New Orleans. There are still places that it isn't completely recovered, but it has recovered for the most part. The places that get hit by hurricanes and all of that, you throw money at it. That's the first thing. But then when you do that, you don't realize that in other countries, our money is completely different, and people don't know how to handle that, because it's so much. These people have been used to living in buildings that we would consider the worst slums in the country here, because we have building standards that even poor places in the United States have to follow certain building standards. Is it exactly followed everywhere? No, but for the most part, there are some building standards. There's things that other countries don't get that luxury. And so our first thought is well, they need help. Just throw money. Here you go. And
that's also a mistake.
Yeah. But like I said, the self-sustainable stuff is beautiful, because you're teaching them a valuable commodity. You're teaching them that, hey, look, we're going to teach you this. And now when the next person comes by, you can teach them that, and they're going to teach, and it trickles down, and it becomes this community-wide thing that now everybody learns something. And you can take it, and like you said, coffee, whatever, it can go to a different crop, because many crops can be grown as long as you know the understanding of how to do it. And this, again, for a village or a community, can be used to bring money in or again, self-sustainable completely. You don't have to rely on the outside world if you have crops in your village. You don't have to rely on outside people if you have a good community base for school.
And here's unpopular. What's up, Ors? I see you. What's up, Laura? I see you. Great point, Laura, about Miami. Yeah, I got to see that firsthand. Here's a hot take that people don't they don't like. I feel with everything within me, because people are like, oh, you work, the way where I work and everything, and I appreciate you talking about this, because I don't really share that much about it, but they're always fascinated that I feel that America should stop giving money to these countries. And here's why. Not that I'm trying to hold them back or anything. Haiti earthquake happened. Okay. This is the example. This is all documented. You can look it up. There's a great book called When the Big Truck Drove Through, has all the documentations of everything. The president, which at the time was Barack Obama, it doesn't matter who the president was, they donated to Haiti $150 million to debt reduction for the country. Basically, instead of feeding them, they just paid their credit card. But when you're starving to death, who gives a crap about your credit card being paid? If America, I think the issue is, if America would invest into Americans to make us more fruitful. Americans have always been, for the last 20 years, even this past year, more generous than any country, any citizens in the entire planet. Americans adopt more children. Americans give more. We give more than I think it's like 80% more than the average person in other countries. And so so America raised $4 billion for Haiti out of people's pockets. You get what I'm saying? So the government just gave 100. So if we would invest more, I always feel like America just invest in the Americans. We're financially well. And then all of a sudden, we just give more. We just generally give more as a society. It's just how it is. So that's where I just think they should just stop and invest in us as Americans and just watch what happens. Because if we had more money, there would be more adoptions. Mm-hmm. If we had more, if people had more money, they could give more, they could help more, they could go to different, people would take more trips to go and help and things like, there would be more signups, and it's all like factual. Mm-hmm. When the American economy was doing its best, we gave so much more. We adopted more children from these poor countries. We had the money to do all that stuff. There was programs set up and everything. When our economy is the worst, we don't give it all. So there's an old saying that if America sneezes, like the second world country catches a cold and the third world countries end up dying. So it's just an old saying that they say. So it's that's where I think we just invest in our own and watch the good that we can do together.
Indeed. I mean, again, you bring up a really good point. It may sound unpopular, but it's true. If we focus on Americans will be able to help more people. And again, it doesn't mean that we stop helping others. It just means people would actually be able to take a break from work because they don't work all the darn time. And I mean, like, I'll tell you right now, I don't do as much as I used to do because I work a ton. I have two kids that I'm raising. I would love one of these days to take my kids on a trip to do something like this, to show them, listen, this is what we do for people. This is what you do because it's what good people do.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, people in general, we have to think about ourselves when things aren't great, and that's how it is. So I know that you're going back down there later on this year, and it's going to kind of be a Geeks and Gamers type thing. So tell me more about like who's going down with you this year that you know.
Well, Jeremy approached me, didn't ask, and he said, "Look, I know this project's on your heart," and he goes, "You're part of the team now. We want to help." And I just said, "Are you sure? Like, that's not my intention, and I try to talk him out of it like 3 times, and he finally was like, F you, Jay. I'll do it myself.
Hmm.
You know how Jeremy talks. You know how Jeremy talks. He's like, F you, man. I'm going to do it myself. So I'm like, all right, I'll do it. So I was just like, you know, $5,000 would go a long way, at least for their education, because their, you know, education isn't free there. And every year there's a giant bill to pay for their schooling. And while we're trying to pay for their schooling, the money that we raise is going for their kids. They're going for their education, and we can't get into the building. So if we had like, you know, like a little buffer that we can throw at the school, then while the other organization and other people, there's more people at work than just me. You guys just happen to know me. So there's others that are trying to raise money, could go to the home and get that finished. So he was like, yeah, no problem. Like, let's just see what happens. He put it out there. We raised $5,000 through Geeks and Gamers in less than 24 hours. And then we raised another 5 in like 2 weeks, I think, which is absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Now we have, and then my Patreon money and t-shirt sales and all that were thrown into that. It gets thrown into that pile too, because I've always said, if you're a patron of mine, we always do good things. And if, you know, those that are patrons know, because I always tell them, I'm like, hey, we're going to use this money for this month. We're going to use money for this month. And everyone's telling me, go buy a new computer. I was like, not yet. Let me get this stuff done and then we'll work. So it's kind of funny because my computer, if I just suddenly disappears, and my computer sucks, but it is what it is. And so all that, we're going to go down there with that money and see what is the immediate need. You know, it's like if it all has to go, so it's about $420 a year for a child to go to school. And if they have around 20, you know, 21 kids, sometimes I can't keep up because they get a new child because they feel like we saw this kid eating trash and we can't take it. So we brought him in. You're just kind of like, okay, how do I argue with that? You know, so it's just like, how do I argue with that? So it's just been, it's been burdening me. I was really sad over Christmas because I wanted more than anything to pick those kids up on a bus and take them to their new home and just kind of go, here you go. We're done. I'm not coming back here for another year just to check on you. You know, maybe take you something. I don't know. And then it just didn't get done because we still have to pay rent for the house they're in, food, water, education. You know, and if you have kids, so you know, like you can't buy one pair of shoes.
Nope.
They don't last. They just don't. Their feet get bigger, and they just, you know, and it's just how it is. Like they don't fit in their clothes like they used to anymore. And they just, and that's just how it is with kids. And the same way in El Salvador, kids are kids. Their feet get bigger. They get out of their clothes. And so like all those things have got to be maintained. And so that's what we're going to go down there and see what we're going to have this money. I'm going to talk to the school and see if we can make an arrangement. Maybe I can get the school paid for 2 years, and then that would be great. Then anything else extra we could just throw into the house because, you know, the house is close, man.
It is.
It's close.
Good.
Like it's like the power's on, the water's on, the septic tank is in, the bathrooms work, the water works, the tiles on the floor. Like it's like right there. So I'm going to go and see, you know, and it's hard to do it over the phone. You got to be there in person.
Yeah.
Because one guy will say, oh man, you need this. It's 5,000. And I'm like, what? Then you call another guy. No, I can do it for 100. What? So it's like, it's just how it is.
Yep.
It's like taking your car to an auto mechanic. You can take it to one guy, it's like 10 grand. The other guy's $10. So it's
you
like,
got that friend that stops and says, hey man, I got a guy that can do it for $100.
Exactly.
Throw him $100 in a 12 pack. He'll be fine.
Exactly. So we're going to go in May, and Jeremy opened it up to the team. So it's right now, I know for sure it's me, Jesse, Tugs, who's in the chat. She's coming. Ruthie, she's coming. She's going to help translate because she speaks Spanish. Yeah. 19K Fox is definitely going. And a couple others that are they're just making sure that they're scheduled. Jeremy is he's making sure his schedule and stuff is able to go. He really wants to go and bring like Geeks and Gamers shirts and all that. That'll really set the soy boys on fire, you know. That'll really
But you gotta get a huge
aggravate the SJW to see kids wearing geeks.
Put it all over those kids. Take a huge giant picture of all of you.
Exactly.
Big smiles, like
Exactly.
yeah. And then put on it as soon as you tweet it out, hashtag winning. That'd be perfect.
It'll be awesome.
So
Orbs asks, how close? What are you asking, Orbs? Ask me, be a little more detailed in your question.
That's asking a lot of words.
Yeah, exactly.
I
appreciate you asking, man, because I don't talk about it much, but YouTube can come and go. My Twitter, I always tell everyone, don't take my Twitter seriously. It's a joke.
Yeah.
I just have fun. It's entertaining for me. And if my YouTube channel dissolved today, if everything dissolved today, that doesn't identify me as who I am. I really feel like what I'm doing that's what identifies me as who I am. So I'm not anything special. I'm not no one different. I'm terrible at construction. I go there. When I bring construction workers, I'm like, can I help? They're like, you can help by standing over there. You know, it's like the last time I was down there, we brought like this crew that was tarring the place and sealing the walls, waterproofing everything and painting. And they're like, all right, here's some paint in a bucket, Jay. Just go paint this room. And I painted the wrong room, the wrong color. And nobody told me. Nobody told me because they're like, that's the guy in charge, but don't tell him he's messing up. Just he's in there quiet. Leave him alone. Just let him have fun about himself. So I'm like painting, and when it's all done, they finally are like, yeah, you painted the wrong room, but it's okay. It's okay. We're gonna fix it. So it's just like
Ord says, how close are you to the house being done, fool?
Last time I was there, I felt it was livable.
Okay.
I felt that it was livable, but the farm wasn't finished. And so when we go in May, I will have a huge understanding of where we're at with that whole thing. So I might like Fox is, 19K Fox does construction for a living. Mm-hmm. So like having an eye that can talk to me, and just saying
that's going to be really valuable.
And I don't know about that. That looks solid. That looks good. Like that's extremely valuable. Because like you said, there are people on the ground there that are excellent carpenters and everything, but they see it through the eye of what, like, I can get it done like this and it'll be done. Mm-hmm. Or we can get it done and be like, no, it'll be really safe and done. And I won't have to come back next month and repair it. I won't have to come back in a year and repair it. No, we can get it done where it's like, it's standing for a couple of years without any issues. So like, that's the goal. So we'll see.
How big is this house? Because you were saying the current one that they're one, and so
see it.
Yeah, sure.
You want to see it? I think I got some.
Yeah,
I got some photos. Maybe you can. Let me screen share. You guys are getting an exclusive.
Exactly. How about that?
Exclusive.
Here we go, guys.
All right. Let's. So here it is, right here.
Cool.
That's the front. So you walk in and there it is. That's what some of them were living in.
Wow, that's high class penthouse.
That's really something, isn't it? It's really something. Last time I was there, we repaired the bridge. There's Jesse.
That's beautiful.
Philip, we repaired a bridge while we were there. This is where the kids are living now. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 kids that live in this room. So it's 2 per bed.
Nice.
Wow. So you can see how crammed it is.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and everything. Here's some of the kids there. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful children. Mm-hmm. And this is kind of what the house looks like now. You can see the tiling. Wow. So it's pretty big.
That's nice though. That's really nice.
Tiling, and you can see where I painted it wrong. And yeah. I used the wrong color. Let's see. Do I have another? Here we go. This might be better.
Hey, this is Jay with Geeks.
Oh, maybe not. Oh yeah. Well, there we go.
That will house orphans and displaced.
Wow, that is huge.
It's big.
Huge. It's just huge.
So in there is this is one side,
there's
and this is where all the girls will be. So there's the bathrooms here, and the other side is identical where the boys would be.
So it's going to be dormitory style.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
very good. I mean, again, maximum usage of space. It's perfect.
Yeah.
And I mean,
yeah,
if they each have their own bed, those kids are going to
they'll have their own bed. You can see how big the bedrooms are going to be.
Yeah.
So yeah. So when it rains, man, it's going to be loud, that metal roof. But
well, what do they have right now as a roof?
yeah, it's just it's drip drop.
Yeah. I see. So I mean,
yeah, it was kind of like walking through. Now this is all finished, like these electric outlets and all that stuff. That's all done. And so like, yeah, these are all the bedrooms there. So you can see like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bedrooms on this row here. Then it goes into the middle room where there's 2 bathrooms, and then it's same thing on the other side.
That's beautiful though.
Yeah. So.
I mean, and now you've been there for the whole project from the start, right? Or from the start of this, right?
I was here when they bought the land. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I was here when they bought the land, and there's Jesse.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, as you can kind of see the kitchen over here a little bit, and so yeah, that's let me see what we got here. That was me. Oh, that's in my hotel room. So driving out is like this. It's on a dirt road, and just to get there, and yeah, so there's the house right there. So that's the front of it.
That's neat.
All this will kind of, I mean, look, it's not going to have stairs and everything. Right in front of the house, what you see, in front of the house, what you see, oh, come on, Jay, is banana trees. So in the front of the house, well, all here will be banana trees.
Okay.
Oh, there we go. There you go. You can kind of see it. They're growing them now. So it'll be banana trees in the front, and in the back, this is like the coffee farm where it's going to be, which leads to a, yeah, I think I fell. And then, yeah, so all this is farmland that's going to be for coffee and everything else.
And how much land are we talking about acre wise?
4, maybe.
That's good though. That's a lot. I mean, it's a lot, and it's a start and everything.
My big face but the cool thing is too is they in the backyard they also have a freshwater stream.
Oh, that's great.
Oh yeah, see, there's the banana trees and stuff like that. So, but yeah, you could kind of see the stream there. This is where we built the bridge so the kids could go across, but the freshwater stream goes on there. So if emergency happens, they can get water. Sorry, my big head there. But,
fun.
Yeah. But these are like some of the places, where like that's an older picture. That was me in Haiti, actually. That's not it. But I think that's the septic tank was finished. So yeah, man. So it's cool stuff.
Yeah, indeed.
Cool stuff.
Again, that's great. And I'm glad you had a chance to talk about it here. I know last year.
I'm cool, man. That's cool. I don't really talk about it much. So I appreciate it, brother. Seriously.
Well, it's important to me. And again, like I said, there's only certain ways I can do stuff like that. And so, I have the thing that if you look down the description for raising money for St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. When I first started to do that, I asked you because I knew about this and I wanted to put that out there. I figure any way that I can personally try to help, put it out there, let people know this stuff's going on. And that's, as soon as I got you on the Wheel of Names last week, I was like, if he comes on, we're going to talk about this. So thank you for talking about that. Let's lighten the mood a little bit.
Yeah.
And let's talk a little bit about Indiana Jones. Let's do some Indiana Jones really quick. And then we're going to have to talk about Star Wars because we got Drunk 3PO on the channel. I mean, come on. We got to talk Star Wars too. But let's start with the Indiana Jones 5 and some of the things you may or may not have heard and all the Kathleen Kennedy stuff as usual. So, what is your idea? What do you think is going to happen with this Indiana Jones 5? I mean, do you really think it's going to be something that's going to be worth watching, or do you think we're going to get another sort of muddled mess like we did with the Star Wars trilogy?
First I'll say, what's up, Steven? I see you, Steven. I see you, Hansar. I see y'all, my man Steven in the chat. Appreciate you, man. I love that dude, man. I love that dude. We talk on the phone regularly. I love that dude. I went knowing that Kathleen Kennedy's in charge, and she has come out so many times to say this is gonna be my big bang. Like, you thought Star Wars was something. Wait till I get my hands on Indiana Jones. She's always been a part of Indiana Jones. She's been a producer. She's been in the movie. She's worked hand in hand with Steven Spielberg throughout that film. And you know, so she's been more involved in Indiana Jones than any other movie franchise today. So, you know, everything that I've read is that it's, and again, a guy eating a burrito could write this stuff out. It could be fake, who knows? But when you read it and you kind of know who Kathleen Kennedy is, you're kind of like, could be true. Harrison Ford ain't a young spring chicken no more.
No,
you know, still looks better than me. I'll give him that. And but apparently Indiana Jones gets captured, and you know, a female, some relative comes to rescue him, and that's the movie. And then I hope it's Brie Larson. If you're gonna go full woke, just let Brie Larson rescue Harrison Ford.
Could she come in as Captain Marvel, saving?
And you know, and then the woman was supposed to take over the franchise. Now I did hear like they wanted Shia LaBeouf to take over the franchise.
Yeah, that was the idea, I think.
But he comes out after the movie and says, "Oh, the movie sucks. I can't believe I was in this film." He talked trash about the Crystal Skull, even to the point where Harrison Ford was like, shut the F up. So you can look all this stuff up. It's great. And I think they were just like, all right, well, we'll move along. We'll move along from this guy.
Well, you see, Shia LaBeouf is kind of this interesting guy that everything he does is really, in my opinion, genius self-promotion, because he figures if people think he's crazy and he does the street art and the street performance and talks crap on the movies he's in and all this, it keeps him in the news. It keeps him in the in the circles, and so it's that interesting Shia LaBeouf self-promotion mentality. I do kind of envy the guy that he can actually make it work and still has some sort of a career left, that people still want him in some movies. It's like, how did you do that? Steven Spielberg overused him anyways, but no. Yeah, I mean, do we really need to do it like that? I mean, Harrison Ford gets himself in trouble by himself just fine, and then he gets him out of.
Yeah, he gets caught every film anyway. So
like, but he gets out, and sometimes it's just funny how he gets out because it's just by sheer happenstance. Sometimes, you know, like when he falls through, you know, or well, not when he falls through, but when he has the giant Anubis statue that he falls down and breaks out of the in Raiders of the Lost Ark. When he does that, you know, it's always kind of funny that, you know, he bumbles his way through, but in such a graceful fashion. It's always like, look, I'm still here.
But I mean, how are they? So in the last movie, like, all his friends died. His dad died. The dean died. He's married now.
Yeah, now he's married.
So are they gonna, you know, like, are they just gonna show him one day just drinking? You know, and just being like, yeah, I lost my wife, I lost my job, I lost everything.
Started off with a country song.
And then that's how they're just gonna fix all that.
Well, let me ask you this. If let's say, and I haven't heard, I'm trying to remember her name, the lady that played Marion. If she comes in this, let's say they bring her back for this, and so he gets captured. If she were to be the one that comes and gets him, would you be okay with that?
I think I would be okay with that, because she was always a badass.
Yeah,
man.
Exactly. I mean, in the first one, I mean, she went toe to toe with the guys in the bar as her bar was burning down around her. And
but I think what they have here is a unique opportunity, not to create a new Indiana Jones, but to have someone, you know, move on. Like you said, like we were talking earlier, Harrison Ford was like, that character dies with me.
Yeah.
And you want me to do another movie? I'm going to put that in the contract. So you just need to somehow, you know, hand it off. Someone goes, so I die, and then someone goes into my closet and finds all these hidden adventures I never got to go on, and then they're off to the races. So
maybe. I asked my son, this came up in a little conversation with my son. My son's 18. My younger son is 14. And both of them are fans of Star Wars and fans of Indiana Jones, because I raised my kids properly. But I was in the conversation. I can't remember with who. It was on the phone, or maybe it was on Thomas Gilkey's stream when I was picking up my son at work. And I said, "Well, I asked my son. I said, so what do you think if they continue it? If it continues to go forward, like right now we're in the 50s. So if it goes to the 60s, the 70s, and he's like, it won't work. He's like, that's not what Indiana Jones is. Even my son understands that's not what Indiana Jones is. That's not. So whatever they come up with." It can't even be called Indiana Jones. It can't even be Indiana Jones. It's going to be some other series that they're going to find some feeble little string to tie the two together. That's all I can see them trying to do. And I mean, Indiana Jones, honest to God, should die with whenever Harrison Ford says I'm done.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know. It'll be interesting. I know we talked about what do you think the new movie should be based around?
I showed this to you earlier, even though they can't do it now because good old dad is dead. But the Spear of Destiny, man, go back to the religious artifacts.
Mm-hmm.
That's what made Indiana Jones cool, because the religious artifacts kind of brought some realism.
Yeah.
To it, and it not like the aliens. I thought the aliens kind of
wait. Interdimensional beings. Get it straight there.
All right, interdimensional beings. So
the aliens.
I thought the religious artifacts kind of brought just a hint of the Lost Ark. There's half the world believes that the Ark of the Covenant is real. Maybe more. The Christ, those that are of Christian faith, they know all about the cup of Christ. So it just kind of. And even atheists, it just kind of brings the whole fantasy mythology thing together. That's why Temple of Doom it's always been the controversial film, because it was a religion that is not very popular and
very dark. It was a dark.
I think that's one thing that I enjoyed about it, because my bachelor's degree is in religion, so I know that religion. I knew that religion, and it's just not a very popular one, but It's just along the lines of voodoo and stuff like that. So, but the Christian religion artifacts, I think, really ties into a lot of coolness that we just don't see in movies anymore. We don't see that. We just see whatever you call that, interdimensional weird things. Listen, I know, like I said, I did not like 4. I didn't hate it like I did The Last Jedi. I just was like, the ending I thought was really dumb with the saucer just kind of going into space. I felt like they found the crystal skull and nothing happened.
No, they gave it back and it went away. It's like,
yeah, there was no big, when they found the Ark of the Covenant, they opened it up. We got to see, Indy survived, but they got to keep the Ark, and we got a hint of that in 4, which I thought was a cool little slide in there. The Cup of Christ, they found it, they used it, but then they couldn't keep it. So, the stone, the Indian stone in Temple of Doom, they found it. They defeated the bad guy. They got to use it, and it helped people. So it was just like, it was different. That's why I thought the crystal skull was just kind of like, I threw this crystal skull on the head of an alien, and he came back to life. And
you see, I know Thomas was in the chat here earlier. Thomas came on my channel. Actually, the second Gospel According to Chris that I did, and we talked about Indiana Jones, and I even said that even though I like 4 is at the bottom. It just is. I mean, even if you were to consider like the new Star Wars and rank them, those 3, the new 3 movies are down here, like way down at the bottom, and it just the people who took Indiana Jones 4 didn't quite. I mean, I know Steven Spielberg was heavily involved in it. I just think he lost his way and his understanding, because he had a really good model going. And first off, killing Indy's dad off. I mean, okay, you can't get Sean Connery. Fine. Sean Connery says, "I'm done." What you do is you say, "Okay, well, we're gonna do this like phone conversation just so we can establish you're still here." If they had kept at least him as a plausible possibility of being in another movie, even if it's hard to believe because of his age, at least you lend some credence to things are similar to what was going on before. But like you said, they killed off everybody that we knew.
Yeah, in like 5 minutes, and they're like, he's gone, he's gone, he's gone.
Yeah,
and we're old, and that's it.
Yeah, and it was like it was kind of depressing. I mean, there are parts that I really like, and then there's parts like we mentioned the monkey scene. It's like, oh my god, this looks so horrible. It just didn't feel like Indiana Jones. It was, the ants did kind of, but even that was less. I mean, because you think about the scares in the original 3, you had the rats; those were all real rats. You had the bugs; those were all real bugs.
That's my thing. I didn't mean to cut you. I'm sorry. It's like I think they went away from the beauty of what Indiana Jones was in the first 3 films. Raiders of the Lost Ark was such a masterpiece with so many different iconic scenes that they still show today. From him switching things, but the sets were amazing. They filmed those sets out in Egypt. They wanted to go in Egypt, so they went to Egypt. So they didn't have a CGI backdrop. They had freaking Egypt
down everybody's antenna to get that one scene where Salah looks out over the
exactly.
And it's like when you hear about that after the fact, you're like, oh my gosh, because back then the antennas was how you got TV. So everybody there had one, and they had to take them all down and put them all back up. Yes, no, you're exactly right.
And so like they did that. Tugs is right. The practicality is what made it. And they did in all 3 films, even in India. When they went to India, they went to India. When they went to China, they had, different things, and it just made the movie look bigger. And so they tried to get that in the one scene of Crystal Skull, I guess, when they were grave robbing, but it still looked like
it's a set. It's a set.
Yeah, it kind of looked like it just didn't look, like what I was used to seeing in Indiana Jones.
All the money. I'm sorry. Go ahead and finish.
No, you're right. Go ahead.
They took all the money that they would spend on and sending the cast and the crew there, and they put it towards CGI, especially that last scene. And I think the nuclear explosion or the atomic explosion, excuse me. Even though I like that scene, but yeah, they put the money in the wrong place.
But see, I didn't mind that scene because that whole set with all the fake dummies was like, it looked like they actually built that outside.
It might have been.
So it looked like, but I knew the movie was weird when the groundhog was CGI, and you could tell. You're just kind of like, yeah, I could tell it's a CGI groundhog. That sucks. But so maybe it was just the timing that they filmed that film. Maybe it was just because the prequels were heavy CGI, and you were just kind of like, some of that looked really bad. Even though I love the prequels. So maybe this time around they'll go back. And the problem is Crystal Skull made gagzookles of money. So if they're looking at it at a studio, like, we can save money if I film it in my garage and green screen and still make $1 billion, then that's what we're gonna do. That's what we're gonna do. So
I'm trying to remember when it was released.
I want to say 07. 06. When was Indiana Jones released? Anybody in the chat? The Crystal Skull.
It was May 20th, 2008.
8. Okay, I was.
Yeah.
close.
So 12 years. The one before that was 88 or 89 was the last Crusade. I think it was 89. And so you think you had almost 20 years between those two. Now you've got 12 years between these two. I'm hopeful, one, that they'll finish it. I don't think we need another one after this. I want to see Indy get where he needs to get, do what he needs to do, and then ride off in the sunset. And I will say this, while Thomas and I disagreed on 4 being an Indiana Jones movie, because I believe it has all the aspects of an Indiana Jones movie. But the one thing I will absolutely agree with Thomas on is that 3 should have been the end of it. It should have been the end.
It wasn't
off in the sunset.
Unless they were going to do one every 3 years, because it was just really, they should have just stopped. I agree. They should have just stopped, because the books that came out afterwards were awesome. I have almost every single one of them.
Yeah.
I even have all the choose your own adventure books, which are, I don't know if they make those kind of books anymore, but they're freaking awesome.
Okay, they are.
My students would eat them up. I'd bring them in, and they were like, they would read that stuff. Do you remember those choose your own adventure? It's like, turn to page 12 if you want to go with the old man, or go to page 22 if you decide not to.
And after all, what would you do? You go to 12. Oh, no, I didn't.
Yeah, exactly. You go to 12 and you see the words "the end." You're like,
nope, that's not what I chose.
So but yeah, like even the thing that I love about the third one was River Phoenix playing the young Indiana Jones, and that set was fantastic. On the back of a train, it was huge.
Mm-hmm.
They had an actual train going, and it set the movie. It took up enough time in the movie where it set it up perfectly, you know, to have Indy have another adventure. And I mean, they could do something like that too, where they have a young Indiana Jones for a little while, and then it goes into, you know, where Indy's like, oh yeah, that's the one that got away.
You know,
that's the one that got away.
I heard, and I don't know if they're going to do this or not, I heard that if they do another Die Hard, they're talking about making it Bruce Willis remembering back when he was a rookie cop. And I think that would be really interesting to have that. Remember the Adventures of Young Indiana Jones? They did the one where Harrison Ford actually showed up in it as old Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
I think doing something like that, where maybe he's talking about this one adventure we haven't seen, the real first adventure, not the one when he was that River Phoenix played, but like a real adventure where his first artifact he ever retrieved that we've never seen, and somewhere, and then if you hired maybe a new guy, or God forbid I say this, but de-age Harrison Ford, whatever you want to do. But if you did something like that, that might be interesting. It might be very interesting that the whole movie is just his narration of an adventure we'd never seen.
Hold on. Stephen Walton, are you in the chat?
Mm-hmm.
Is he still here?
I think he is.
He just became a patron of mine. Stephen, thank you. I'm going to get with you in a minute.
I plan on doing that too.
Thank you.
I have to find the moment that I can.
Oh, bro, no, I appreciate it, man. Just, you're good.
I mean, you are one of the people that brought me into this community and showed me love, even though I loved, or didn't love, but liked The Last Jedi. and you know, I tell people all the time, it's such a great community. The way we all help each other and the way we do things. Speaking of The Last Jedi, let's just dive into a little bit of Star Wars, and let's talk maybe The Mandalorian here. Did you watch The Mandalorian?
Oh yeah.
What did you think of The Mandalorian?
I put it on the same level as Rogue One.
Okay.
Like, I thought that was the best we got from Disney.
Oh yeah.
To me, like the original trilogy, how I rate movies is really weird. So like if I'm flipping through, even though I have the DVD, even though I have it on streaming, if I'm flipping through the channels and like Empire Strikes Back is on, I'll just leave it on.
Mm-hmm.
Because that movie's rewatchable. I could do that with the prequels. I could do that with the original trilogy. I could do it with any Indiana Jones film. I can do it with oh my gosh, what's that movie that comes on it comes on from Stephen King about the guy who was in prison? Shawshank Redemption.
Mm-hmm.
When that comes on, I leave it on. So that's it. The Mandalorian, I probably wouldn't do that. Like that's where I rank that. It's not really rewatchable for me yet.
No,
not yet.
I agree with that.
So I watched it once. I enjoyed it. Okay, cool. Actually, I watched this episode twice because I did a review on the channel just to make sure. But it was like but right now I'm like, you know, I'm done. It's like the sequel trilogy. I if it comes on, I'm not gonna watch it. So it's just I'll just skip past. But if it was like A New Hope, I'll probably just leave it on.
Yeah,
you know, and just let it ride wherever it's at. First 10 minutes, last 10 minutes, usually just leave it on. But yeah, the Mandalorian for me is not. I didn't hate it. Thought it was cool, but it's not a rewatchable show for me yet.
Yeah. No, so, I think they did a good job of setting the whole scene.
Now, if 2 comes out and it's like, whoa, then I can link season 1 in with 2 and let it be rewatchable from start to finish. So like that's how that goes. Like, because you know everyone gives Attack of the Clones a lot of crap, and rightfully so. There's a lot of criticism with the dialogue and the acting and the things like that. I get it. I totally get it. But because it's linked to my favorite Star Wars film, Episode 3, it's rewatchable to me because it links it. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, you know, you talk about Attack of the Clones. Attack of the Clones was when I saw The Phantom Menace, I was like, okay, Because I grew up on the original trilogy. I mean, you did too. But when I went to go,
I didn't have the experience. So like my parents are very religious. They wouldn't let me watch movies, television stuff. So they did let me watch Star Wars when it was available at Block, or what was before Blockbuster, whatever those rental things. That's when I've watched it. So I never got to experience them in the theater.
Mm-hmm.
Never got to experience the theater. The prequels was a huge experience for me. Like we slept overnight to get tickets. It was a midnight showing. They don't do midnight showings anymore. I hung out with some amazing people for a couple of days that bought everybody coffee and donuts. They reenacted the original trilogy in the parking lot. It was amazing. So those type of memories added to why I love the prequels, you know. So people can say, well, the prequels were kind of like this. I'm like, yeah, but for me, it was everything. It was such a huge experience for me that that's why I love them, because I remember those times. I remember after seeing the midnight showing, being all hyped up, going back and buying tickets to come back and watch it, you know, a couple days later. But then all of us going to Denny's that are open 24 hours or IHOP and eating and just talking about the film with like 50 people that I didn't know. And we're just like, did you like this scene? Oh, yeah, you remember? Oh, I forgot about that scene in this. And it just like, it was a whole amazing experience that I never got with the original trilogy. The original trilogy, I just remember watching it at home with my brother, just kind of like, oh, okay, I like this. That's cool. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it does.
It was like and I did that for all three of the prequels, which just made it like, it made me sad when the third one was over, because I was like, I'm never going to experience something like this event again in my life when it comes to cinema. And I almost thought I did with the Force Awakens, because there was a lot of hype.
I was going to say that. Yeah.
Bought the tickets early. There was no midnight showing. It was a Thursday showing. Hung out with a bunch of people. We got to see Luke Skywalker for a half a second. And so
yeah,
it was kind of, but it was different. You didn't have to camp out for tickets.
No.
Like you did. Like sleeping outside was really, I mean, it was gross.
So much changed because you know, now you have online ticket sales. Nobody has to go and do that anymore. And yeah, the movies have changed how they do things. I got to see the original trilogy. I mean, granted, I was 3 months old when I saw the first one, but when they went in, my dad took me to the Empire Strikes Back, and then I think my mom took me to see Return of the Jedi. So when the prequels came out, I was there too. Midnight showings, all that stuff, remembering all that stuff. But the first one, I was like, wow, I really honestly said it feels like a kid's movie. And the other ones still to this day don't feel like a kid's movie. I can watch the Phantom Menace now because I appreciate what they were doing in that. When it went to Attack of the Clones, and as it went along, I actually got more excited because I saw where, and yeah, we knew where it was going to end up, but I saw what they were building up to. The fact that in the original, in Star Wars, we heard about the Clone Wars. We were actually starting to see things that we'd only heard about before, or we'd only read about in the books. We'd never seen this on screen. And so that brought it this realism to it. And then when Revenge of the Sith came out, I was floored how well they pulled that off. I mean, when you see Hayden Christensen, which I'm not a big Hayden Christensen fan, but on that third movie, when him and Obi-Wan are fighting at the very end, the emotion that is in that, they are really, they sell that they were really brothers, and now they're really at odds with each other. And Obi-Wan, it kills him to do what he does. He doesn't want to do that. I mean, the feeling they got out of that is like, and you're very right, we never got that again. And I don't know if we will. Who knows? But I mean, I'll tell you this: when Rogue One came out, I was very hopeful, because Rogue One to this day still makes me want to go back and watch A New Hope afterwards.
Yeah, I think that's the best movie. It was funny. I was at the gym, and there's actually some people in the chat. We're in another group. We were talking about going to the gym, and my gym they have a room where it's a cinema room with all the cardio equipment, and so they usually play a different movie every day. And today they had Rogue One on. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. So I spent a little extra time on the jogging machine because I came in like right halfway through, like because I know the best parts were coming, and just kind of watching it going, you know, I didn't hate this film. It did make me does make me want to see A New Hope.
And
I thought Rogue One is the best that Disney gave us so far. That's my opinion. I think it's the best out of everything that they've given us. It's the best, including The Mandalorian and everything else. I think Rogue One was, if you were to rank them from what Disney has given us, I think that's, in my opinion, is number one.
Oh, I totally agree. All right. Last thing we'll talk about, your dream hire as soon as Kathleen Kennedy either quits, retires, or gets fired. Who is the right person to lead Lucasfilm back to real Star Wars, or as close to real Star Wars as we might get?
John Boyega. I'm dead serious.
That is so interesting. That is a great, wow. You are a surprise indeed. John Boyega. Okay.
Follow John Boyega's Twitter, Instagram, and stuff. He gets it, man. Like yesterday, he was throwing up he was throwing up so much shade, so much shade at everyone. He threw up a picture of Finn, Luke Skywalker, Princess Leia, and Han Solo with Finn on his Instagram story, and he was just like the Dream Squad. He was just like, this was the squad right here. And I'm like, it's just like, he just gets it, man. I would just love to see fresh eyes I would love to see a Star Wars fan in charge with like fresh eyes. And he's been throwing shades at Raylo, saying y'all are stupid. So I appreciate that. He's been throwing shade at a bunch of other things where he's just like, yep, this is how it should be. This is what's up. Raylo's a toxic relationship. Finn should have been a better developed character. For those that love Star Wars, I'll agree with that. Exactly.
I put this up anytime somebody talks about this. This is what I said. I put this up before Rise of Skywalker came out. I said, this is the man. This is who it should have been. I was so pumped for him when I saw him in The Force Awakens. And then, as much as I say I like The Last Jedi, when you take that character and you make him a laughing stock, it's like, what the hell are you doing?
I think John, Kevin Feige I think he's doing great with Marvel. He could stay with Marvel. I think Filoni is, I think he would be a good advisor.
Okay.
I don't think he would be I think he is good. So there's an old saying, aces in their places. Put your aces in your places, man. Put your aces in your places. And so I think Filoni's ace in his place is right where he's at. I think he's right where he needs to be. Just put him right where he needs to be. And other than that, I think you need someone with the balls of John Boyega, of what we've seen. He's also Phantom Menace, which is great, which I'm pretty sure he is. And I think Finn is the type of person John Boyega is the type of person that would listen to like Mark Hamill and others and just be like, you think this is what Luke would do? And they're like, no, this is what Luke would do. All right, let's do it that way. And then if anyone gave him crap, he would just laugh at him like he does on Twitter. And I'm like back going, because think about it, Chris, it's not that hard to make a Star Wars film.
You listen to the fans. Listen to the fans, and you'll get somewhere.
Bookstore, go order some mashed potatoes. Put it in your hand. Making sure there's some butter on it so it's sticky. Go to any bookstore. Look at all the Star Wars EU books and just throw.
Wait. Remember, they don't have any source material.
Yeah, I know. That's why John Boyega would be perfect, because he would do it. He would go there. He would go.
I'm hoping whoever takes over, the first thing they do is they say, "Listen, screw this. The EU doesn't exist anymore. The EU is back. This is what we're going with. This is where we need to go." I hope they do it.
I mean, the thing is even like right now they can't even keep the Disney Star Wars EU together because they let these directors do whatever they want without any consciousness. And this is why the Rise of Skywalker, this is why the Last Jedi shills hate this movie. This is why the Raylos hated this movie. So Rian Johnson had a vision for Star Wars, and they let him do what he wants. And I will give him credit. his fan base for what people want in Star Wars are very supportive of Rian Johnson. They're very supportive of Rian Johnson's Star Wars, and they are loyal to his Star Wars. I get, as much as I disagree with it, they are loyal to Rian Johnson's Star Wars. And so then you have JJ, who kind of came out and just kind of like cut The Last Jedi, you know, like a lot of things he just kind of cut up, which made that crowd hate this movie. I mean, look, you had Star Wars Explained, one of the biggest Star Wars YouTuber. They got like 500,000 subs. They loved The Last Jedi. They defended The Last Jedi, but they came out and they were like almost crying sad because of The Rise of Skywalker.
Mm-hmm.
And Alex, who's in charge, Alex and Molly, other names, I can't, whatever. They are who they are.
Mm-hmm.
Alex was so mad because Poe was his favorite character, and he loved what Rian Johnson did with Poe, and he hated what J.J. Abrams did with Poe, because Alex actually broke it down. He was like, I read all the Disney EU. Poe's supposed to be this. He's supposed to be that. And J.J. comes in and just throws it all out.
Mm-hmm.
And so now you've got the Disney EU, which is like, what's going on? And they're creating comic books and new books to fix everything. You know, like the scene where Chewbacca didn't hug Leia after the Force Awakens. Me or you or anyone in the chat could have easily seen that and go, oh, she should be the first to run to Chewbacca. Princess Leia should have been the first to run to Chewbacca to hug him after Han died. Like, Chewie just kind of walked casual.
Yeah.
You know? It's like any one of us could have seen that and went, she shouldn't go to Rey. She should go to Chewbacca first. Make Rey wait. Rey just knew Han for what, 10 hours?
Yeah.
You know, and so it's like those are the little things. And then what do? They correct it in a comic book. Admiral Akbar died.
You just did a video about that. I mean, you just did.
Yeah. Well, I just was listening into it because more comic books are coming out now. The new Star Wars film that they're developing, which is funny to me because Bob Iger's like, we're not developing any more Star Wars film. Kathleen Kennedy, no, Rian Johnson's doing a Star Wars film. No, we're not doing one anymore. Well, maybe they are doing one, or maybe they are. And now they finally said, well, here's the one that we're coming out. It's going to talk about Exegol and how Palpatine built up his whole army. So I'm like, okay, so now you're making a movie to fix your other movie because you've heard so many people complain about your movie that you want to fix your movie.
What was the tweet you put out about? Did you know that the inhabitants of Exegol were blah, 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 blah. And it's like, and who was it? I can't remember.
Frodo. It was Elijah Wood. He's like, how would we know that?
How? No, oh god, yeah, no, that was.
Now, I did read some of Disney EU, and I my favorite one still today is Bloodline. I thought Bloodline was great with the election with Princess Leia, just because it reminded me of our own political system. And whoever wrote that book, I just think they did a good job. If you're not familiar with that book, Princess Leia, it happens after Return of the Jedi. Princess Leia runs for office, and they use the fact that Darth Vader was her father against her, so she loses the election, even though everyone thought she was a shoo-in because Princess Leia, she defeated the Emperor, and that's what started off this whole thing. But
nope.
Again, like you said, they threw out all the old EU, which was a huge mistake.
It was.
And because
I hope they bring it back.
Yeah,
I don't know. John Favreau as maybe the lead, and Dave Filoni as an advisor, or the guy below him that says, "Okay, you do this, you do that," and hey, bring John Boyega in. Let's make a dream team here. I mean,
why not, man?
Why not? I mean, hey, all right, guys. So
I put you in charge, Chris. Like that's how much confidence I have in anyone stable other than what they have there now. Because Star Wars.
Yeah. I mean,
that's what I'm saying. It's not hard.
No.
It's not hard to make a good Star Wars trilogy. It really isn't. I never thought I would understand they make a bad Star Wars film. Okay, you can make a bad Star Wars film, but not an altering, where you've taken years of people's written work, hard work, lore, everything, and just go, we're just gonna put it over here and thanks for trying, but we're gonna do something new and it's gonna be better. And you can't even keep your dots connected. Now they just come out with a book, change the timeline again.
Mm-hmm. No,
and listen, in order for you to enjoy Galaxy's Edge Disney World, you're supposed to read the book.
What?
So I read the book, and Tugs was in the chat, and she could testify to you this. There are parts of Galaxy's Edge that you will only understand if you read the book. So there's a book, it's about the spy. So you go to Galaxy's Edge. I have a video, I haven't released it yet, where there's a wreck. There's a wreck off to the side. And nobody even knows why it's there. But in the book, it explains why this wreck is there and who was in the wreck and why it's important to Galaxy's Edge and why now the person, it's a whole story for this stupid wreck that people just walk by and don't even pay attention to. So when I was recording my video, I was at Galaxy's Edge, and there was several people, some of them were in the chat. I'm recording it, and I'm telling the story about this wreck. And all of a sudden, all these people, you'll see in the video, they just start surrounding me. They're listening to me tell this tale, and the guy's like, you work here? He's like, I don't work here, but you had to read the book to like understand. And they were all like, well, that's stupid. I'm like, yeah, it's pretty stupid.
It's Disney. Disney wants money. So how do they get money? They put something in there that in order to understand or enjoy, maybe you have to have something else. You have to buy something else. And I hear the prices are ridiculous there too.
Yeah, I just walk through it. You can't buy anything there unless it's I don't know. It's pretty crazy.
All right. Well, our time is at hand to wrap this up. I have a stream here in a little bit. So do you. Why don't you tell everybody again where they can find you? Talk about your stream tonight, the craziness that will ensue with that.
Yeah. So my channel is the same as its name. It's Drunk 3PO. And Steven says, I can read. I can read. Yeah, I can read. How about that, Steven? And I plan on reading your book and critiquing it harshly. Because I'm not in the first volume. Anyway, yeah, so it came to my realization through Anna on one of her live streams that I have never had her on my channel. I've never invited her on it. She's kind of snuck in. You know, she was in the chat and I just kind of threw her a link, but we never had a formal. And I was like, you're wrong, Anna. You're wrong. I've done this before. You just didn't want to come. And I went digging. And I was wrong. She was right. And she let me know about it harshly in multiple live streams every time I showed up. So, so tonight at 9:30 is the first time she's going to be on the she's probably going to give it to me pretty. If you know Anna, Drunk 3PO, correct spelling? Correct. That's it. Drunk 3PO. That's right. Thank you, Jeffrey. That's the correct spelling. And I don't know what's going to happen, but I definitely owe her an apology. And if you've ever seen Anna rant, I'm just going to have to sit and take it like the bad dog I've been. So I don't actually know what's going to happen.
Whatever it is, it's going to be epic.
It could be the last time you guys ever see me. And, we'll see how it goes.
She's on the other side of the country. How the heck is she gonna? She's gonna use force projection to come and kick your ass, right?
Anna, man, if not, she's gonna see me at the celebration.
Yeah. Oh wow. Well, yeah. So this is
it's nice knowing you, man.
Hey, I'm glad I got you on before that happened.
That's what I'm saying. It's been a good run.
Yeah, very good.
There will definitely be a lot of F-bombs, not from me. So if that offends you, you might not want to watch. And we're actually going over an article. She wants to go over late. Actually, I don't know. I don't know what could happen. She said if she feels like she wants to go over, there's actually an article that came out about the Fandom Menace and how bad our clickbait is, and they named a lot of YouTubers.
Oh, nice.
And we might go through that, but if I can survive the first hour, I think I can make it.
Well, if she gives you that link to that, I'd like to see that. If you'd send it my way, I'd greatly appreciate it.
An article that was buried that somebody I'll send it to you, but it was relived. It's starting to be relived again.
Interesting.
Oh,
yeah. All right, guys. So here's the deal. This right over here is the Wheel of Names. This is how you were picked. This is how everybody on this show has gotten picked. And I say it's because a big or small YouTube channel, this is totally random. So I don't know who's going to be. For instance, you were on there from the very get-go, and it's taken months now to get you on here. And finally it did it. Some people ask me like, hey, when am I going to be on? And I'm like, I don't know. The Wheel of Name has to pick you. And then that night they get picked. It's like, what the heck is this? So the Wheel of Names is completely unpredictable. And we're going to spin it right now and see who will possibly be on next week. Remember, it's all based off of schedules and everything like that. We have to make sure everybody can make it. If they can't, we'll reschedule. I got 3 other people we're rescheduling right now. And today,
oh no,
I just saw him in the chat. Hopefully he's still there. Abu Nas has made it, and he has now been picked.
I don't think you know what you ask, but
hey, I asked him if he could be on. He said yes, and I've done a stream or 2 with him. I've talked with him. I look forward to this and the craziness that could ensue from this point on. So, guys, thank you very much. Jay, thank you so very much yourself.
Appreciate it.
I'm glad we got to talk about the stuff we got to talk about. Everybody out there, remember, I am doing a giveaway. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. Currently, I am at 875, I believe. So 125 away. I made 125 in like 2 days when I first started. So that, you guys can put me out there. I appreciate it if you guys send people my way. But if I make it to 1,000 subscribers by April 12th of 2020, which is basically a 1-year mark from the first real video I believe I did, I would be willing to give these away to somebody. But the only way you can get these is you have to go to my Twitter at chrisknight5150 and like and retweet my pinned post, and your name will go on the Wheel of Names that is for this contest. And real quick, let me get out of this and then go and open. Wait, make sure I save this before I do that.
Oh, Abanas is in the chat. Abanas, you have been selected.
You have been selected, Abanas.
Abanas has been on freaking fire these past 2 weeks. I don't know what it is. He has been on every major circuit show, like every day. I turn on and Abanas like, oh, I got invited on this live stream, on this live. I'm like, dude.
Well, I'll get with Abanas and we'll make sure that he's available next Monday. But watch this. This is currently the Wheel of Names for this contest. And I'm telling you right now, guys, this is because of you guys. This thing is crazy. There's like 100 names on here.
Oh, wow.
This is crazy. And I appreciate everybody who has helped me get there. And like I said, we're so close. And I greatly appreciate all of the help that you guys can give me. Again, Jay, thank you very much for coming on. Guys, thank you for being here today. All of you guys were great in the chat. Appreciate every last one of you. And with that said, let's go ahead and say goodbye, Jay. Bye-bye.
Hey guys, thanks for checking us out. Be sure to subscribe to both channels and make sure to check out our friends in the Fandom Minutes. You can find us on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and BitChute. And you can also send us an email at sean@seanstackhousereacts.com and chrisknight@therealreview3000.com. And be sure to swing by our Teespring store to pick up some awesome merchandise.